So I want to talk about declaring variables inside of JavaScript. So one of the things that's interesting about JavaScript and the history of JavaScript is that it used to be that you didn't have to use any specific keyword if you want to create a variable. And one of the things they did not too long after the language came out was they kind of tightened it up and they came out with this var keyword. And var keyword is interesting, but that is actually considered to be the correct way, or was at the time, of declaring a variable. And then around the ES6 time frame, I'd say around 2016, there's a couple of new keywords that came out, and there was const and let are the new keywords. And nowadays, if you're declaring a variable, by default, you should probably try to use const. Now, const means that is considered to be a constant, which means that you would set the variable once, and then after you set the variable, don't expect to change it, right? So if you do want to change it, you'd want to use let or var. So let's take a quick look and see how this works. So I have a playground pulled up here, and just to kind of show you some old school JavaScript, I've created a variable here called name, and I've set it equal to Bob. And I'm doing a console log to see what that's printing out. It's showing me I'm getting Bob, just to show you that I'm not faking it here. I can put in maybe some more characters. You can see it's outputting here in real time. So the proper way of doing this is actually to come here and declare var. And you can see we lose the squiggly lines when we do that. But one of the things that's interesting about the var keyword here, so I want to, let's say later on my code, I can come in here and I can type in var again with the same variable name. And this time I could say, and you can see now it's actually outputting kin instead. So you can actually redeclare the same variable using var. The other thing that's interesting about var is that if you're using it, let's say inside of like curly braces, an example like this, and I paste that in here, this is considered to be a JavaScript block. And you can see here that this gets hoisted up to here, this level, and so when I come out here, it's still printing out cat. So one of the things I can also come here and do is I can use a different keyword. So let's come here and let's change this to let. So I've just changed this to let, and I'm going to try to redeclare that variable again. This time I'll do it to Susan. And you can see that we're getting an error right here. And that's because let does not let you redeclare it. And one of the things that's nice about that is you can see right away that let's actually a safer keyword to use. So if you have the option between let and var, you should probably try to use let. Now, something else that's also interesting here, if I come over here and I delete this line, and I come up here, one of the things I can also do is I can change this to const. And const should be the default way that we declare variables. Now, if I want to come in here and I want to, let's say, use that again, or just take name as an example, and let's try to set that to Susan again. Now we're getting a type error. And the reason why is because when you use const, that essentially makes this not necessarily a read-only, but does make it an immutable value. So once we've set this using const, I can't go and change this. The one area where that you could probably say that's not true is, let's say if I decide to change this to an array, I'm gonna come over here and let's put in some more values. Okay, now I have name. Now I won't let me change it outright like this, but one of the things I can do is I can call methods on that. So one of the things I'm going to do here is I'm coming here and say push, and we'll call this foo. And you can see now we're still able to modify this, but we can't change it overall. So const is the safest way to set a variable. Let is the next safest way. And then the last way would be to use var. And if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. And if you have a comment, please leave a comment in the comment section. Thank you very much.